What is up, everybody? This is O-Artistry here, and today we're talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Unlimited list that just literally dropped like last night, today. Basically, while we were having the good old tournament that's been going on, the YCS, I think it was like at the round about the top 16, top 8, they decided, hey, we're gonna drop a ban list. So Christmas has come early, everybody. Here's some banned cards, limited cards, semi-limited cards, and unlimited cards. So, without further ado, we're just going to dive straight on in and looking at the Forbidden list. So, we have Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, Xiaogan the Spiritualist, and Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye. So, only 3 cards that's actually been hit on this ban list. I think more cards probably when we get the next ban list will definitely be on it. But it's definitely interesting to see these cards specifically on the ban list. So obviously, as we know, Gimmick Puppet has been, it's got an OTK strategy, which is pretty powerful, and they have been trying to curb that Gimmick Puppet strategy with all the new support that obviously came out. And then I think, did they have an errata? I'm pretty sure they had an errata on one of the Gimmick Puppet cards, or it came back from the previous ban list, and pretty much, yeah, they had to curb a lot of them because otherwise the OTK was just too strong. Then we also have Xiaogan the Spiritualist, which obviously when he's on the board makes it that you can't special summon monsters, and also on top of that, I think you could discard a card to destroy all special summon monsters. Now this is obviously anti-meta. It's a card that easily counters, like, Tenpai and all other kind of decks. And Xiaogan basically just says no to all of those. It's a really easy monster to kind of summon as well. And as long as you just protect it, in theory, you can just stall your opponent out until you win. So it makes sense Xiaogan is kind of forbidden. I reckon he'll eventually probably get to like limited or something down the line. I don't think this is going to be a permanent ban. And Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye. Now this is kind of interesting to me because Flameberg was one of the cards I was half expecting to be on the ban list. But also Diabell. The reason why is obviously the Bonanza, baby, let's go! Because yes, those cards were reprinted in the Rarity Collection 3, the Bonanza, so I was half expecting those cards to get banned more than anything, but Original Sinful Spoils was the card that got banned instead, which most monsters you're gonna play maybe one of, two ofs anyways, so I don't think this card, it's an interesting hit, but I don't think it's like the most devastating hit. I think Snake Eyes is still incredibly powerful. I don't think it's really going to be doing anything all that much. But after that, we're now going to go to the limited list. Okay, so the next cards that are on the limited list is Tenpai Dragon Chandra, Phantom of Yubel, Sanjen Kaiman, and Zodiac Barrage. Only 4 cards hit the limited list. Tenpai was 2 of those cards, and they got massively hit, going from 3 to 1. That is huge. Tenpai really, pretty much just got curb stomped. Meanwhile, some people have been talking about Zodiac Barrage. Now, I'm going to save Phantom of Yubel for last because obviously, as a Yubel player, we'll talk a bit more about that. But Zodiac Barrage first. Now, some people are like, ooh, is now Zodiac a playable strategy? Not yet. And the reason why I say not yet is because obviously cards like Bowman and, more importantly, Dryden are still on the ban list. However, I think this is a precursor. I say that because this is kind of giving us let's see how this works, is if having a card, a Zodiac card at 1, obviously it makes it seem like maybe slowly Zodiacs are going to come back. I mean, Monkey Board is a card that's available, and we'll talk a little bit more about him soon, but yes, Zodiac Barrage is a card that is now officially back. So I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of crazy Zodiac plays. Definitely, I think it's an interesting card, but I think it's more on the lines of I'm keeping an eye on this. I don't think it's going to do too much now, but down the line, the next ban list. Remember, they've basically pretty much all but confirmed that we're getting another Bonanza set, the last of the Rarity collections, I believe, but also on top of that, the last of the 25th anniversary rarities. But pretty much, I think we could expect to see some Zodiac reprints in this Bonanza set that's going to be coming. I guarantee that. And the reason why is I think they're teasing here. Let's see how this card works. Is it much impact on the meta? And then we'll see Dryden or Bowman as then appropriate, depending on if we see a lot or less plays. You know, we'll see how the format shapes up. But I think on its own, it's not going to be doing anything too crazy. But I think they're teasing it, and I think soon we will see Zodiac come back, which is insane. So I'd say pick up your copies of Zodiac on the down low, while they're kind of on the down low, because they will skyrocket in price before long. Now, Phantom of Yubao. Interesting cards to see on the limited list. Now, I myself only control one of these cards myself. I only own one Phantom of Yubao. So this literally doesn't affect my deck in any way, shape, or form. And if I'm being completely honest, it's a powerful card, don't get me wrong, but at best, I'd say you'd be running 2. Some people, you know, I've seen in decks, I don't think you're running necessarily 3 of them. Some do, but I've seen kind of 1 or 2 in amongst it anyways. So I don't think it's like too crazy of a card. I think penultimately, Phantom of Yubao on the limited list is absolutely fine. It's not a problem. So we're now going to move on to the semi-limited cards. Now, the semi-limits are way more interesting to me, as well as the unlimited. So, Cyberjar, as we can see here, he was in the Bonanza, baby, let's go, as a reprint. So, it's good to see this card, a very strong Go Edison format card that now you can play it too. So, it's a pretty interesting little flip guy who just blows up the entire board, and then you can summon a bunch of level 4 or lowers in attack or face down defense mode. I definitely think that's going to be a very interesting card, and quite a surprise that we're just gonna just randomly see. I think this may affect the meta in some way, shape, or form. It's definitely a card I would probably side just in case. You never know. You never know. So it's kind of like one of those cards that you can just kind of surprise your opponent with if they're just not expecting Cyberchar in any way, shape, or form. It's also a rock attribute, so rock decks, eat your heart out. But we also got Danger Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, Eva, and Performer Power Monkey Board. Now, the Danger stuff has always been kind of interesting to me because they've kind of got different strategies depending on, what you're discarding and things like that. So, it's going to be interesting to kind of see if they do even anything. But Eva is a card that I was like, oh, okay, because obviously this card was running amok. All of a sudden it was on the ban list, and now it's on semi. It's been on the ban list for, I'd say, a bit of a while. It's been at least a few years, I believe. So it's good to see Eva. That's a pretty cool card. But Performer Power Monkey Board, that's the one that I thought was the most surprising card of all. We've seen, a lot of the original strategies kind of slowly coming back. We had, what was it? Performer Power Skull Joker or whatever he is. He made an appearance, and now we've also got Monkey Board, so that's a very powerful card. It's a Zodiac card, in all but name, so it's going to be interesting to see what Monkey Board does now that it's also returned. But we finally got the unlimited list, so let's get over to there. Okay, so unlimited. We have a lot of cards here, and a lot of them were from, you guessed it, the Bonanza, baby, let's go! Because obviously Dino Wrestler Prank Tops was a reprint in the Mega Pack 2410, which obviously came out this year, so I'm not surprised that that's at 3. Fenrir's a card, so, it's been teased, slowly coming back, so I'm not surprised that this is at 3. It's a pretty solid card, but it's quick effect popper card, which can include itself, as a target to, it doesn't have to be a specific Dino Wrestler, you can just choose himself. and then destroy one card your opponent controls. So I definitely think seeing this guy at 3, that's pretty solid. But also we've got all the Dragon Rulers. So obviously they've been slowly coming off the list, and they were reprinted in the Bonanza set. And now we've got obviously the Dragon Ruler of Infernos, the Boulders, Storms, and Waterfalls. So all 4 Dragon Rulers have come back, and they're all at 3, which I think is really cool. And that's definitely something that I'm going to be personally making a note of. All these kind of more Bonanza cards, and there is a reason for that. I have been slowly teasing something that is coming in Season 4 of our tournaments, so it's definitely going to be something, you know, that I myself need to keep a note of. We also have Lunalight Tiger, which is actually really cool. I think Lunalight Tiger was limited. It was banned for a long time. Banned for a long time, because again, part of a Zodiac strategy and all that type of stuff, like Monkey Board and things. Lunalight Tiger was in amongst those cards. It was not the problematic card, but it had to get hit because it was part of the just crazy strategies that you used to use back in the day. But yes, Lunalight Tiger is now officially at 3. I think that's really cool. I love that. It's good to see that Lunalight is pretty much at full power now. So that's pretty amazing. Rescue Ace Airlifter. I gotta be honest, I didn't even realize this was on the ban list. I have no idea where it was. It must have been banned or limited, so it's pretty cool to see Rescue Ace also back at full power. Thunder Dragon Colossus. Again, this was a card that we saw randomly go from the ban list to the limited, was in the Bonanza set, and now we got it at 3. It's a pretty awesome card from 2019. Obviously it ruled the roost. I don't think it's going to necessarily go too crazy in this current meta, but it's a really powerful card, and I think it's really cool to see that it's back. So Thunder Dragon, welcome back to the fold. Eve the World Chalice Justicar. Again, it's another one of those cards that got reprinted, and you know, it was on the limited, kind of the same as a lot of these other cards, and it's just naturally followed suit. But the one card that has surprised me more than anything is Opening of the Spirit Gates. That's awesome, because basically Sacred Beast is now back at full power again. My Sacred Beast deck, that took a massive hit, because obviously, yes, when I first read this card, Opening of the Spirit Gates, I did think, oh, that's a really cool Sacred Beast card, but then I read the bottom effect, and even all the way back then, I was like, that's a very powerful Yubel card, because it targets a fiend in my spell, you know, with 0 attack and defense, and you can bring it out, which is why in my original build for Sacred Beasts, I was also playing and dabbling with Yubel and just bringing that in and out, which was really cool. And obviously, yes, when Yubel, you know, obviously got her new support, instantly Opening of the Spirit Gates was part of that strategy. So, while the Phantom of Yubel has pretty much hit the limited list, we now got instead full power Opening of the Spirit Gates, which I think is a really good trade. You know, again, all this does is it just brings my deck at full power. Notice that Fiendsmith has not been hit. The most powerful cards, the most broken cards, and Fiendsmith still hasn't been hit. I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised. I'm thinking possibly the next ban list in some way, shape, or form. Because remember, Engraver makes money. It was the expensive card, it was the chase card of the set. I own one myself. And I used to have, which funny enough I've got on the side here, because I was playing my brother over the weekend, and I actually had to take this out, but I forgot I actually had Fiendsmith's the Crimea in my Illusion deck. The reason why is it was part of a strategy with Ultimate Slayer, because by sending it to the graveyard, you can target then a Light Fiend, which I was using the Link 2, which, you know, goes into Underworld Goddess, so you could return that back and then inflict the 1200 burn, which was quite funny because, you know, this card, out of all the Fiendsmith cards, this was the one that got banned, nothing else, which I just found absolutely hilarious. But yeah, no Fiendsmith cards got hit whatsoever. So yeah, overall I found the ban list quite interesting. Obviously, a lot of the unlimits were already on the semis, so I'm not surprised that a lot of those come off. Pretty much once you hit that semi-limited list, if you're a new card hitting the semi-limited, it's chances that you're going to go down, so you're going to go to the limited. However, when you go from like banned or limited to semi, massive high chances that you're actually going to go on the unlimited. Semi is kind of like this weird little transition where they're like, we're not going to put you at full power yet, but you will in the next list, and pretty much guaranteed you will be, except for like pretty much like what's his face? I got one actually down over by here. Destiny Hero Malicious. Yeah, it's funny, I just got cards everywhere. But like, yeah, Destiny Hero Malicious, he was pretty much just one of those cards that was on the semi forever, and then eventually it got, you know, it became the, like, unlimited, which was amazing, that you could use the strategy at full power. In terms of what I was expecting, yeah, I was expecting Flameberg, and a couple other cards that were reprinted to hit the list, and I'm really surprised a lot of them haven't. So even in a lot of cards in the rarity collection, like obviously, you know, cards like Appaloosa got hit because it was reprinted, but you know, there's a lot of cards in there that just didn't. And you know, Flameberg, Bonfire, Triple Tactics Thrust, a lot of these really powerful cards that just got reprinted. Even Snake Eyes Wanted wasn't really, you know, none of these have been hit, but they were reprints. So I'm definitely curious, maybe the next ban list will see some of these cards get hit, and I definitely think some of them should, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens next. I am also very curious with the next Bonanza set. I mean, obviously a lot of us voted for Aeneos, so I'm very curious to see if Aeneos actually gets that reprint to start with. But I'm going to be curious to see what kind of other meta-defining cards are going to be in this set, but then what other old school cards are we going to see? And I definitely think Zodiac is going to be in that set. You know, we've kind of read the lines here and kind of what we can expect. So obviously we're going to see a lot more kind of reprints of classic monsters, kind of in the Goat and the Edison, but I think we're going to go a little bit beyond that, and we're going to see some of those more powerful cards. So I'm definitely like curious to see where it's going to go, and I'm just really excited about that. But what's your guys' thoughts on the ban list? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was there any cards that you thought may or may not come off the ban list? One of the cards I was really personally hoping for was Block Dragon. I was really hoping that might even just get limited. I'd love just one Block Dragon. One would be fine. I wouldn't say no to that. So, who knows, maybe in the next set, maybe like in the next ban list, it may come off. I think it should at some point. It's not like the most broken card in the game right now, so I think it can afford to. I definitely think, depending on how things go, we may see some more decks get hit. I mean, Tempai got hit worse than Yubel, if I'm being totally honest. I mean, we literally got Opening of the Spirit Gates back, and then Phantom of Yubel was the one that got hit. So, and like, don't get me wrong, it's an expensive card and I own one of those, but like, I think realistically you only need one, and you can pretty much run a really amazing package. Even if you can't afford Fiendsmith, you've got Unchained, which is kind of the classics, and it's what I run. But I'm definitely looking forward to kind of seeing what the next ban list will look like. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously it was effective from today. It doesn't affect pretty much anyone in my locals at all. Like, looking at this set, it really just didn't hit anybody. Like, we're all pretty much just good on our end. And even if it did affect any of us, it wouldn't matter, because our next tournament, which is Saturday, is Goat Tag, which I'm really excited about, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's the season finale, where, I mean, it's kind of anticlimactic because I've me of all people, I'm still blown away that I've actually won the season, but I've got enough points basically to guarantee that I've actually won the season, which is insane. So that's why the Bonanza box, part of the reason why the Bonanza box, which was the top prize, is actually going to be something I've made a note of, because obviously when all these cards have now come off and I'm starting to pull packs, you know, it's definitely going to be something interesting. But there'll be more on that when we get closer to the time for Season 4. And it's definitely going to be interesting. So, my closing thoughts is I'm surprised that only so many cards got hit on the limited and the forbidden list. Like, literally, it was like 3 cards on the forbidden list and like, what, 4 cards on the limited. The, you know, semis had a few more cards, and obviously, as you can see, the unlimited had the most, but they're pretty much just everything from the semi except for opening of the spirit gates, who was limited. So, and Rescue a Sail Lifter. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see all these guys back, but it's kind of what you would expect. They're on the semis, so it makes sense that they've now come off. But yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and if there was any card that you would think should be on the ban list instead. And you know, so that's the thing, like, in the comments, type in one card that you think should be banned or should have been on this ban list to close out 2024, and one card that should have been unlimited. You know, obviously, if you want to do a semi and a limited as well, go for it. Like, have your 4 choices, but at least minimum have one card that you thought should have been on this ban list to close out the year, and one card that should have been unlimited at the end of the year, which would have been really cool to start 2025 with, like, this super powerful, like, oh, this is unlimited. So, like, yeah, let me know what you guys think of that. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, party on, peeps. Take care, guys. It was great to see you, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye!